Hey everybody, welcome to DeRailed Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bemis, and with me today is a very special guest, Zachary Folkman. It's nice to finally do a podcast with you, Zach.
Drink your Gatorade, Tim.
Drink your Gatorade, Tim.
During that scene, there were so many times where I was thinking, like, sponsored by Gatorade, sponsored by ibuprofen. I was like expecting like all these other brands to like just pop up.
Yeah. So I'm sad. That was like
I completely take back the Rip Chuck text I sent you. Like,
oh my god, yeah! Like after the fifth episode, and he had the outburst at court. Like me and Zach will text each other during the show sometimes, and he just had a text that said "Rip Chuck." But here's the thing.
You know what though? I'm kind of hopeful. I think he's just really burned. I think he's still alive. I don't know.
I think if Chuck is alive, as sad as the scene is, if Chuck's alive, that takes away all of the effect that this scene has.
I still want to believe it. It's like
I'm okay
that
with him.
That scene earlier with him, like what he said to Jimmy was like the worst thing ever.
Oh my god!
I understand why they would give all these other scenes to Chuck afterwards, just kind of make you, even after something like that, the show clearly wants to make you still care for him in the end.
Yeah.
Which I think they. In some ways they succeed, but at the same time it's like it was still a terrible thing to say, Jimmy.
Yeah, it was awful. And now this is the problem. I never record this show in the basement, but I have to tonight because it's late. And now I hope people aren't hearing that in the background. Anyway, I'm gonna just get on topic again. So yeah, like, I don't know. I think it's a very powerful scene. It's very depressing what happened in that finale. I do think it goes without saying spoilers, and I'll put something at the beginning of this episode. We are mainly going to be talking about the finale of Better Call Saul Season 3. We will talk about our thoughts on the season as a whole, but mainly it's just going to be focused on this last episode. And this episode really was just the breakdown of Chuck. Like, there was other stories that they focused on. I was actually surprised there was no Mike in this episode at all.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. You know, like near the end during like Nacho's bit, I was like, huh.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's more, like, probably 2 other seasons left of the show.
If they get renewed, like they haven't been renewed yet, and I really hope they have to after this finale.
I think they will.
I think they will too. I have high hopes. It's just their ratings have gone down lower and lower each season, and
I think you should give respect to the creators of Breaking Bad. You know,
yeah,
people at AMC, like.
Yeah, I think they do. Like, I think that if they
make total horse crap, I still think they should get a renewed season. Like,
yeah, like I do. I agree with that. Peter Gold has said in it, like, because I really do look into the show so much because I guess I'm obsessed. I don't know, but Peter Gold has even said in interviews that AMC and Sony have been very good to them, and that they're gonna do their best to get them making more seasons. It's just ratings, you know, economics and all that. It's hard.
Still talking Saul.
I just recorded it too right before I came down here to record this. If I can download it and listen to it while I work tomorrow, I'm gonna do that. But if not, I'll just watch it when I get home. I really loved this finale. I was very sad by that last scene. Just seeing Chuck destroy his house and like. I just kind of put myself in the shoes of like a family member walking into his house. And I know he doesn't really have any family left at this point, but I just like imagine it's someone else. Like imagine in what happened with Chuck, like a family member of mine, just how disturbed I'd be if I walked in the house and saw like just the destruction that was done to it. And God, that scene with him kicking the lamp, like it took me a little bit of time to actually pick up on what he was doing too. I was just like, is he just twitching? Is he just really sick? And then like,
and you know what, like, what?
I'll say my thing and then you say your thing. We're almost done. It was just like the last 10 seconds before it like actually, I was like, oh shit, that's what he's gonna do. And it was just like, God, that hit me hard. That hit me really hard. I was like, God, I did an audio test and my voice kind of like broke in it because like that's like within one of the top 5 saddest things I've ever seen in a show or movie. Like that is, God, that actually hit me a lot harder than I thought it would. Like a lot of people really hated Chuck and Hamlin throughout the series. I actually, just like I liked Skyler and Breaking Bad, I liked both of them. They were flawed. You hated them sometimes, but they were good characters. I'm sorry, what were you going to say before?
I was gonna say like I haven't fully caught up with season 1 yet, but I'm like trying to rewatch season 1 of Better Call Saul, and I think it was in that season. I'm pretty sure, if not in season 2, they said something. I think like the doctor in season 1 when they put Chuck in the hospital, they were talking about those lamps, and the doctor was saying, those lamps they're highly flammable. You should probably take those out of the house. And it was just like hinting at this scene.
Oh God, I did. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I forgot all about that. I even rewatched season 1.
I'm like, oh my God, I really came full circle.
Yeah. Oh my God. I wonder if they were planning that from the start.
Probably.
I don't know. Like, a lot of people say probably not. They have plenty of time.
You know what? Now I take that back. I guess he is dead. I would appreciate that part, the writing. I don't know.
He needs to be dead. I would actually I don't know. That would be a facepalm if he was alive in the next season. Don't get me wrong. I'm sad, but that was brilliant writing. Just the scene where he's destroying the house, the music that goes with that scene was so fucking perfect.
When the scene first happened, the first track during that, for some reason, it sounded like something out of Minecraft. I don't know why. If you remember how it kind of sounded, something about it.
I won't talk about this.
As it went on, it didn't sound like it anymore, but the first bit it sounded good.
Yeah. I just finished, we're not going to start talking about this now. I just want to point out I finished Hardcore Season 5 today.
Oh,
that was a bummer. So many bummers. So many bummers today. What's with today? Why Jeff died, Chuck died. It's just so much
death. Is that
the
season? That's the season with Austin and Jeff at the end, right?
Yeah, where it's just them. It's just Jeff for when you compile the episodes, it's almost 2 hours of just Jeff.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's really good. That was the most satisfied I was since the first season with a Hardcore season. But getting back on topic. Yeah. I was
gonna say one other thing about Chuck quickly.
Yeah.
And something about this episode as well, earlier with him and Jimmy. He was arguing about Jimmy, he was saying something about even though you don't know that you do these things, blah blah blah. And it was so hypocritical, you know.
Yeah, it was, and Chuck is a very flawed and broken character too, and that scene was, everything about Chuck in this episode was heartbreaking. What he said to Jimmy was I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I never really cared about you that much. Yeah. And then they have that clip at the beginning with him reading the story to him as a kid in the tent, God, it is...
Oh wait, that was the two of them as kids?
Yeah, you didn't pick up on that?
Oh, I thought they were just
he was reading the book that they mentioned in the first episode of the... Remember the first episode of the season where they were talking about that book that Chuck used to read to him?
No.
It's the one conversation that they have in the season where the two are still friends.
Hey.
It's in the very first episode of the season, Jimmy's helping him take the stuff off his wall, and he starts talking about that book.
Rip Chuck.
Oh my God. You know what? I kept, I actually, and I'm not going to say I called it because I, honest to God, didn't know, but me and my cousin, because my cousin Christian watches the show a lot too, we were watching the, episode by episode together, and we would message each other about it. We actually just messaged each other after that episode, and we were both saying that we think Chuck is going to die. We were starting to think he was going to die when he was starting to really push himself, and he was going outside with, and he went into, that city. Remember that? He was it was after he lost the court case, and he was really just exposed himself to as much electricity as possible. I was thinking, yeah, I think Chuck is going to pass away by the end of the season. I did not think that was the way they were going to do it, though.
During this episode, I thought, I was thinking, I didn't expect the death, but I was thinking, whenever Chuck's death comes around, I'm sure it would be have it also full circle, it would be because of that one scene with him taking the screwdriver with the outlet. I thought a scene like that, if he shocks himself or tries to commit suicide putting a toaster in the bathtub, I don't know, something involving electricity killing him in the end. But this was a nice
yeah, that was as you said, it's kind of a nice callback. Yeah. But oh God, I can't believe everyone was I go on Twitter and I look at their stuff a lot. Everyone was saying that Kim, they thought Kim was going to die, and I never understood that. Yeah, she got in a car accident, but she was fine, and it showed in the promos that she was fine. No, I absolutely, if I was going to guess a character was going to die, if I was only watching Better Call Saul, I would say Hector, but Hector, as we know, is alive in Breaking Bad. But Chuck, yeah, I can't say I called his death because I really wasn't sure, but me and my cousin were saying, I wonder if Chuck's going to die at the end of the season. It was us saying we wonder if it'll happen. Like, it was a thought that came up, but we thought it was just going to be he was going to expose himself to, like, way too much electricity. And, God, I don't know. They are such good writing. Really, just, I gotta applaud everyone involved in the show. It was such a good finale. It was even kind of a slow finale, but it still worked very good. And you know, we still have to talk about Jimmy, Kim, and Hector, because there's a lot of that in this episode. I do think Chuck is the main focus, and Hamlin. Hamlin's been awesome the past couple episodes.
Can I also pay my respects to the wonderful Irene, who I feel so bad for?
Oh, yeah. Jimmy fucking went too far, but I like last episode, I was like, oh my God, Jimmy and Chuck are pieces of shit. Like Chuck was...
What?
Chuck was suing Hamlin, and then Jimmy was fucking Irene's life up. Oh, that was a good scene. Like, everything about this, like, these last couple episodes have been great. Like, I wasn't sure where they were going with it, and they took, like, the only place I kind of understood they were going with was, the Hector story, because we already know what happens, so that's kind of why.
I think Gus is gonna try hiring Nacho, or trying to talk to him in some way to get Hector. Yeah, the way he wasn't ready. Something's gonna happen.
Gus knows something's up.
It's just like, what is he gonna do with Nacho?
That's also a really interesting scene though too. Just watching Gus of all people being the one who's trying to save Hector, and I think it's because Gus wants to do it himself. But
yeah, he wants like. But that's not just a simple death.
It's just kind of a image that is interesting. Like, it's something that it's I think he
clearly wants. I think he doesn't want death, obviously. Like, even in Breaking Bad, you can see him in the retirement home talking to him. Like, he wants him to be alive just so he could keep mocking him for years and years.
Yeah, like, Tuco's dead, he mocks him. The cousins are dead, he mocks him. Yeah, no, he wants Hector Salamanca to hurt. As he said in an earlier episode, like, a bullet to the head would be way too humane.
Yeah.
There's so much good shit this season. Okay, so we'll talk more about this finale, and we'll talk more about, like, the season as a whole. I want to know, though, if you had to, and maybe you won't know the answer to this, because I know you said you're still rewatching the first season, but if you had to rank each season, like, where would you put them on the list?
2, 3, then 1.
Season...
I thought 1 was okay, I'm still rewatching, but I still think 2 and 3 have been, definitely better than 1.
So 2's your favorite?
Yeah, I think so.
I kind of got I actually kind of have a different list from you. And keep in mind, I love every single season of the show. For me, 3 is the best. Although I do have there is one thing about 3 that I do, like, think is a problem, but it's a minor problem. I put season 1 in second place, and I actually put season 2 in last place, only because, like, season 2 was really good, and stuff like Kim building a character was really great in that season, and there was some, Jimmy versus Chuck was interesting in that season. I just feel like it was a lot slower than the first and third season was, and I also feel like it was just, some of the stories weren't as interesting. I think Jimmy was a lot more toned down that season. He was kind of insane in the first season. Now he was really fucked up in the third season. And that was more entertaining to watch. My only gripe with the third season at all, and it's not really a gripe because I like it. I feel like you can watch Better Call Saul without watching Breaking Bad.
It's the cameos, isn't it?
Season 3, I like the cameos, but holy shit, they go overboard with them, and it's just like...
They treat this season as how they advertised it was just like, this season you're going to be seeing a very obvious transition.
It sounded
bad. It's like it's not really that. It's just more it's recognizing.
Yeah.
I think I said like season 3 was a transition. Season 4 might be that real transition. I think this was just
no one's gonna
people know this is part of Breaking Bad.
No one's gonna get this except for like maybe Hail Hydra if he ever listens to this. But to me, like all the advertising for the season reminded me of Richie saying there's gonna be 3 fight scenes this season, so you better check out for it. Like I feel like they wanted to boost their ratings up, and they felt like advertising Gus Fring was going to be a good way to do it, which I agree. I wish it would have helped them. It didn't really. I really wish it would have. But I'm confident they'll at least get 1 more season. I'd like 2 more, but...
I think they're going to have 2 more.
Yeah, I have faith in the show. I haven't given up on it. I really want a fourth season. I'll be very disappointed if it doesn't happen, but I am confident that they'll get the fourth season. It's just it hasn't been announced yet, and this is the latest they'll be renewed out of any of the previous seasons. You have I know this is a Netflix show, so it's a little different, but I mean BoJack got renewed the night season 3 was released.
One extra thing to add about season 3, I don't think you'd agree with this, but I think it was just a bit, it went by a bit too quickly for me.
Every season goes by quickly for me, though. It was...
Even though I binged watched seasons 1 and 2 and I saw season 3 week by week, I still felt like the other two, I don't know.
I don't know, I feel like this season, it did some very interesting things, and I do think it kind of stayed in place throughout a lot of it. Season 1 I really like because I just feel like there's so much change in that season, what Jimmy's motivation is, what he's doing, and just how everything kind of comes together, all the character storylines. I feel like they do a lot more in the first season. It's a little bit more all over the place, but in a good way. Then season 2 and season 3 are definitely a lot more stuck in the time.
We've had a lot of great moments, even a great episode like that courtroom scene is probably my favorite.
Oh my god, that episode
of Better Call Saul.
Hands down my favorite. I think that's up there as one of the best episodes, the one with Mike where it shows his backstory. That's a really good one too. It's an episode of Better Call Saul is always. The thing is, it's very hard to remember episodes of Better Call Saul because it's basically, you remember scenes of Better Call Saul, but they're just so many different stories in an episode that it's hard to acknowledge an episode as an episode. But the episode with Mike and the first season where it just shows his whole backstory, the entire episode focuses on that, so you remember that episode, and then the entire court scene episode, the entire episode focuses on that court scene episode, so you remember that. But I don't know, season 3, what I was saying before though, is it does feel like you really, a lot of these cameos aren't going to make any sense without Breaking Bad. In season 1 and 2, they made sense without Breaking Bad. They were nice if they were probably more fun if you watch Breaking Bad first. And I do think that you should watch Breaking Bad before Better Call Saul. But if you wanted to just kind of get into that show, I feel like you could up until season 3.
You know, a great example of a show that does it right, I think, there's that show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which, the first season, they tried doing their own thing, and I think it's in some ways they succeeded, but then at other times they like referencing the Marvel movies and all that. But once season 2 hits and 3 and 4, they try the best that they can to make it their own thing, and they completely succeed. So it's kind of a shame that season 1 wasn't that kind of thing. With season 3, very rarely, but instead we had kind of a flippity do with that.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
So
I think they could have done better with that, but yeah.
Yeah. So I guess this show's called DeRailed for a reason. We're kind of all over the place. I guess we should go back to talking about the finale now because we only talked about Chuck. We didn't even talk about Jimmy in this episode. We were talking about Irene a little bit, and how I really like the way he settled it in this episode. I like how Kim tells him do it in your way, and that's exactly what he does. He just does a very scummy thing that works very well and gets everyone back on Irene's side.
That one scene when they left the office, Kim and Jimmy, and it showed the office with the mirror was on the ceiling. Did the wall resemble a fish? When the mirror completed the picture, or did I just see that? Maybe
you're right about that. Maybe you're onto something there. I certainly didn't notice that. The wall was half of a fish,
but the mirror symmetry wise finished the picture. But what would that mean? I don't know.
Yeah, they do have some really good cinematography, so maybe they did something. Maybe there was a meaning to that shot. To me, that shot, when I saw it, all I really thought of is this is the end of an era. We're moving on to the next one now. But maybe this is the entire time Better Call Saul is taking place under the sea. And we didn't even know that. We didn't even know.
But the real question is...
It's a Little Mermaid prequel and a Breaking Bad prequel.
Oh, it's a prequel to everything.
It's a prequel to every movie and TV show ever made, even the ones that take place in the past.
You know what? We were talking about Ernie or Ernest, whatever.
Yeah, the Ernie spinoff. What?
No, wait, I'm not finished with that sentence. We were talking about him having a spinoff or Kalen. Irene should, don't you think? Defend Irene. That's the show. Talking Irene.
What's a way we can make a rhyme with that title? Irene joins the.
Okay, what's it?
The Marines. I don't know.
Irene cyanide. That rhymes. Have first episode. She drinks it. She dies, and that's it.
I was starting to think Ernie was going to become like a series regular, but after like the 4th episode, I think he was done.
Well, she was in season 1 too.
Oh yeah, no, it probably will continue to appear. I do like that they brought like most of the they brought a lot of Better Call Saul characters back this season. Like, you know, just in the last episode we got Aaron, we got the return of Aaron.
Yeah.
We had that one lawyer that everyone.
Why did she come back if she hated him last time we saw her? I don't know.
I think she came back because she wanted to help Irene. I think it was just a conscious thing, and I think she genuinely is disgusted by Jimmy, but agreed that that's the best way to handle the situation. And I wasn't like a fan or against the character. This is going a little off topic again, but it's still related to Better Call Saul. Did you see the Kettleman short film?
What?
You remember Kim? Not Kim. The Kettlemans. They on their website AMC.com. There's like a 3-minute short about what the Kettlemans are doing now.
Isn't the husband in jail?
Yeah, it's like they go to a picnic, but they like do it on like the side of the road, and that's because that's where the husband's going to pick up trash. It's a nice little short.
All right.
Yeah, check it out. I'll link it in the description if anyone's curious.
Maybe that's hinting at their own spinoff. You know?
Yeah, like that. It's funny because all the comments are like requesting a Kettleman.
You know what? Out of all the characters I've hated on Better Call Saul, I think the wife I really hated.
Yeah, there was like actually a lot of talk about because apparently a lot of people really like that character. I don't know. She was awful, but sometimes awful is good. It works.
It's like.
It works story wise. I wanted
you to hate her, but at the same time, I still hate her. Like, that's
just,
how it is.
Who do you think is your favorite character on the show and least favorite character on the show? That's a hard question. I think I love Mike's. Mike
somewhere with Kim, Jimmy, or Chuck.
Yeah, I'm probably if it comes to characters that are exclusively Better Call Saul. Then definitely Kim. I enjoyed Mike so much in Breaking Bad, and I don't even think, don't get me wrong, I like Mike in Better Call Saul. He's not even half as fun.
Nacho too. Nacho is great.
Nacho's good. I really like Nacho, but I feel like he's really one of those characters that's he's not in a lot of this. He always takes a long time to come back each season. I think this season it was the 4th episode he came back in, and it was such a small scene for him. He didn't really start doing anything until the second half of the season.
He's a sub character. He has his own little sub.
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
I like him. I feel like characters like Kim are a lot more fleshed out, though, and that makes it more easier to like her. I really do like Chuck and Hamlin. Hamlin in the first 2 seasons, everyone always really hated Hamlin, and in the first 2 seasons, I didn't really care for him, but in the 3rd season, I liked it when he started getting pissed off. I like his big F you to Chuck at the beginning of this episode. And again, I do feel bad for Chuck in the long run, but what Hamlin does in that episode is completely justified. It's actually kind of honorable because he's given his own money to keep he's not letting Chuck win the situation. He says you won, but Chuck didn't really win.
We're seeing a bit more of emotion from him as well. I'd like to learn a bit more about Howard.
Me too. We had to see. It's kind of funny because just in the last 3 episodes, every single one of them, he was lashing out on a certain character. In the 8th episode,
he's always arguing with someone about something. I'd like to. Yeah. I don't know. Does he have any family?
Well, I liked Hamlin a lot because he was the only character on the show that seemed to have any form of loyalty. I guess you could say Kim and Jimmy have loyalty for each other, but they both did turn on other people. Hamlin was just always extremely loyal, even in the worst situations, and then it just backfired on him so badly because he was loyal to Chuck.
We should get a look into his sex life, I think. That'd be great.
Yeah, let's make the show
a whole episode of that.
The show is about the next spinoff is about Hamlin and his days as a porn actor before he became a lawyer.
I'd see it.
Yeah. Man, we just made this show awkward.
What else happens?
We have
in this season, at least, not just the finale.
Well,
Is there any more to say about Irene? I feel like
Irene was treated like shit by Jimmy, and he got exposed in the end. I don't think there's much else to say about Irene. Everyone felt really bad for Irene, and rightfully so.
Hashtag hugs to Irene.
Hashtag hugs to Irene. Okay, so I mean, I don't know. Like, when it comes to the finale, the only things we talked about Hector. I mean, I like that was a really good scene with him blowing up. That was very dramatic. Hector, I think, actually got a very fair amount of screen time this season too. Do you want to talk about Gus this season? Because, like,
what of Gus have we seen other than little bits?
Were you? That's what I'm talking about, though. Like, were you satisfied with his return, or do you think that they could have done more with him?
Here's the thing. First half of the season, yes, because there's, those episodes with him and his coworkers, and I really like that. But then as the season kept going on, I was like, where's Gus? And then he showed up with, like, one scene with Lydia, and then one scene with Salamanca, and then here with Salamanca. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think they're saving for next season, maybe.
I'm kind of on board with what you said there, and like the thing is, I really was excited for Gus when I heard he was coming back, and I was very satisfied with the scenes he got in episodes 2, 3, and 4. Especially 4, because he got he got so much screen time in the 4th episode, I was actually starting to think it was going to be like the Mike episode, where the entire thing was going to be about him, but like halfway through, it does start to focus on other characters then. But like Gus gets a lot of that episode, and even the beginning of the episode, he's not in the beginning, like where it shows like the scene with them in Mexico. But that still connects to his story very much, and it was a very good scene. And you get a lot of Hector that season, and that Hector in that episode too, and that was very entertaining.
He's clearly in this season primarily for Hector and Mike.
Yeah.
I'd like to. I get he really shouldn't be involved too much in Better Call Saul, but at the same time, I would a bit more. We need more backstory with him.
He didn't get to be in the 5th episode, but that's fine. Like Mike wasn't in it either, and it made perfect sense for him not to be in it.
People keep like speculating, like in Breaking Bad, like mentioned the family he had. Like they haven't touched up on that yet. In this show. But
yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll make
him and Lydia. Like again, I really want to see them interact more.
Yeah, the thing with Gus though is he's always been very quiet. You're not really going to see him interact with that many characters. The scene where he talks to Mike and like talks about him working for him and talks about, like a bullet to the head would be way too humane. That's like, everyone considers that. If you go to YouTube and look up that scene, it's titled like, basically Gus has a very vulnerable moment. Gus opens up to Mike. It's like the most vulnerable he is in the entire series. And I really liked that because it shows that it shows a younger Gus. It shows one that is still very professional, but not nearly as professional as the one he is in Breaking Bad. And it showed a different version of him. And I like that. It does seem after the 5th episode, though, it was like he was designated to like 1 minute appearances per episode. And I don't know. I feel like you could do a little bit more with that. I also feel like really there was some fair episodes with Mike for sure, especially near the beginning, but near the end, even Mike kind of got smaller and smaller appearances. I don't mind that they didn't have him in the finale because I feel like they wrapped him up for the season pretty nicely because he's working for Gus now. That will go into season 4. I remember we were talking about after the first episode of Gus, like whether we thought Mike would join him early on or whether he would join later. You said later, I said early. You were right. I was right to the extent that he did a job for him in the next episode because that's what I was mainly talking about. But you got it right that you were saying it probably won't be until the end of the season.
There wouldn't be much left of the season if they just kind of get that out. I feel like this season just primarily being like him earning his trust and all that. That's an interesting idea.
Yeah, Mike. I could have gone for more Mike this season, I think, but I'm still pretty happy with what I got. I'm trying to think if there's anything in the show that seemed uncalled for.
The thing with Gus, what we got in Breaking Bad was, that whole side of him, like that whole Two-Face thing, where we saw both sides of the businessman happy and all that, and then the mafia kind of guy. In Better Call Saul, like we've already seen Breaking Bad, so they weed out that and they primarily just show us Mafia Gus. So I mean, you can't expect too much of a fleshed out character at the same time, but Like, it's for like diehard fans like us, like that just want extra bits.
Yeah.
As a story, I understand.
Okay, so I think we talked pretty much about everything. Like, the only thing we haven't talked about finale-wise is Kim, but there's not a lot to say. What about the episode before? You were talking about the whole car scene with me in just a private call.
I know she got in a car accident by the end of that episode, but at the same time, it didn't really have anything to do with her being a good driver or a bad driver. It was just her almost getting into... I don't know.
I liked that scene a lot, and I actually kind of saw the car crash coming once it got really silent. I actually thought it was going to be a car. I was kind of expecting a car to crash into her, but instead she fell off. Like, it's like, I keep expecting things to happen with the show, but I always just get one detail off. But
I remember, I knew a car crash was coming during that scene, but like I was thinking of like from what's the movie Whiplash.
Yeah.
Remember how the truck ran into the...
I was thinking of the same thing, yeah.
Well, I love that edit, though, that quick little thing, and she just immediately...
Yeah, you can even, like, see her face for a second before it, like, flashes out.
I remember, like, I was in shock at the end of that last episode, and this episode as well, but, like, the last one. Because, it's so spontaneous.
Yeah, absolutely. With,
poor Kim.
Yeah, poor Kim. Kim knows. Like, I think the reason that scene works...
I gotta mention that blockbuster scene. That was great.
Oh, yeah. Wonderful callback. Wonderful.
Dude, did you used to shop at Blockbuster?
Oh, absolutely.
I got so much nostalgia from that. I feel
that was the nicest touch.
Looking at that.
It's such a nice touch. That's such a lovely touch.
There's all these movies around that time. It's nice.
Yeah, that's great. To be fair, the two movies they brought up were way older than from 2003. Yeah, The Kill and Mockingbird. It depends. No, it doesn't depend on what Monty Python. Monty Python ended a long time ago.
She just has her assistant getting all these.
Yeah. Francesca was a very nice touch this season. She wasn't just a pointless cameo like a lot of them were too. She actually played a part in the season. Good on her.
Wait a minute. We only got one little episode with Huel.
I'm sure more Huel's coming our way the next season.
Though, that episode looks like it's like the start of like him appearing at least 2 more episodes this season, but like no.
It's a start. It's a start. I think it worked fine. I'm very fine with what they do with that. With Kim, with the car crash, I think that scene was really perfect though, because it's just it's her reflecting so much on all the things she feels guilty about, because that's a very apparent thing with Kim in the last couple episodes. She has kind of her outburst. Not really an outburst, but she loses her temper when she's working with Davis and Maine. And she like basically says, like, in my eyes, all we did was put down a very sick man. There was there was just even in the beginning of the season, she seemed like throughout the entire season, Kim seemed very guilty about a lot of the stuff that was going on, what she did to Chuck, whether or not she's making the right decisions. And I think that's just really hitting her in that one scene. She's just thinking and her mind completely like dozes off. And then, she gets into an accident because of it.
During that one scene this episode when, right before the Blockbuster scene, when she's telling the assistant, get these papers, and she hands them over and she's like looking them over. I was like thinking in my head, I didn't expect the turn she was going to do, getting all the DVDs, but I thought it was like going to the thing where she's a workaholic, like that's her problem.
Yeah. But, she's taking a nice break now. Kim's earned it. Kim worked really hard this season.
Pray for Kim.
Kim, pray for Kim.
Hugs for Irene, pray for Kim.
Yeah.
What else?
I really loved it. Kim was great this season. Like I said, season 2 is the season that really built Kim as a character.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I liked about season 2 so much. It is my least favorite of the seasons, but like Kim's stuff was excellent. I don't know. Like I enjoyed this show.
What about Mike? Have we talked much about Mike this season?
I talked about him a little bit. This season, I don't know, like the first episode, he's one of, I felt the first episode was kind of slow. I was a little bit disappointed because it was a premiere and I felt like we didn't really get too much progress. But Mike had some cool scenes in there of him taking the car apart and he meets Gus and, he has he kind of gives Nacho advice. And aside from that, I think it's just, it's scenes that reflect on guilt of his own, really. I think there's a lot of guilt going on this season. Just characters feeling bad about stuff they've done. And even that shows in this last episode a lot when Jimmy once again apologizes to Chuck. But
he finally met Chuck this season. That was cool.
Yeah, that was
insane.
That was cool. Actually, that was a duo we didn't see yet. We also saw, like, just another thing to mention, going back to Gus, we actually saw, Jimmy and Gus interact. We didn't see that once in Breaking Bad.
Yeah. Just for a bit.
Yes, that was a nice little touch of detail there, too. What was I about to say? Yeah, like, I don't know. Mike's put to some very good use this season. I'm not, like, unsatisfied with the amount Mike appeared in the show. He got a fair bit. There was also him feeling guilty about the person that got killed by Hector and his men. The Good Samaritan. And that Good Samaritan was the husband of the one woman at the church. And then Mike went out with the metal detector and found the body buried in there. Did you pick up on that, by the way?
Say again.
You know how, like, Mike went out there with the metal detector and found the body?
Yeah.
That was the husband of the woman at the church, which I'm pretty sure you picked up on that too. But that's also the man that he got killed because it was the Good Samaritan that Hector and his men killed.
I forget.
Yeah, that was actually a connection I didn't think about until my dad actually brought it up to me. I was like, oh God, he's probably right about that. That completely slipped my mind. They even mentioned the Good Samaritan a couple of times. Like Gus says, your actions got an innocent man killed. And then Mike says he wasn't part of the game. That's a funny thing that people were saying about Irene, like, too. She was like, Irene wasn't part of the game. Yeah, Mike was good this season. Nacho was good this season. Hector was good. Everyone was good this season. Everyone was good.
I think despite, like, major arcs with Mike this season, in more of a transition thing, we still had a lot of great scenes. Again, you said the taking apart the car scene. There was that one scene with the shooting the rifle in the air for those other two guys. I love that scene.
Yeah.
I think I like that scene a bit more than the other one. I think they outweigh a bit, yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of good stuff. I don't know, this season was just great. Like, I do think the cameos become a little forced, but they were still great. And Lydia wasn't completely pointless, because she has a really good scene with Mike in the next episode. In the second to last one. We
also had a lot of tense scenes more than the other seasons.
Absolutely.
In this season.
Again, talking about the finale, like, I know I'm, like, repeating myself here, but just the scenes with Chuck were so fucking strong. Like, it was the strongest stuff I've seen on the show so far. It hit me harder than anything. That was on par with Breaking Bad levels of uncomfortable. Possibly, I think the only scene in the entire series that has made me more uncomfortable to this day. Like, I think that one, I might change my mind. It might just be because I just saw it and I'm still having, like, kind of a big effect from that scene. I think the only other scene that made me two other scenes that made me more uncomfortable, because I did just think of a second one, is one, Walter laughing hysterically in the crawl space. And I'm counting Breaking Bad, like, the whole universe. Yeah. And the other one is when just, like, everything goes insane and Walter steals Holly. And I just saw, like, 3 other scenes I could compare if that. Breaking Bad gets insane. Like, remember when Walter steals Holly?
Yeah.
But I'd put, like, the discomfort of what Chuck does in the end of this episode up there with all of that.
Is this, this is the first death in Jimmy's, life, the first person in Jimmy's life that's, like, died, right?
No, his mother and father died.
No, I mean, like, throughout the seasons, I mean, like, not past...
okay, this is the first major death in Better Call Saul. Like this,
like not counting like Mike's arc, more on Jimmy's side of things.
Yeah, But there wasn't really any major deaths on Mike's side too. There were deaths, but there wasn't a major death. Like there wasn't a main character getting axed off.
Like I'm just saying, like deaths.
I'm still waiting for that Kaylee bitch to be axed off. We gotta do a theory video on that. Why is Kaylee, like the ages, that is like the one continuity error that actually might exist in the show. Kaylee's age.
I was watching an episode from season 1 of Better Call Saul.
Does she look 4? Isn't there an episode?
She looks 11 and the mom's like talking to her like she's 4 and she's playing with Play-Doh, and like the mom's kissing her, and I'm looking at the actress, the young girl, and she looks so uncomfortable. She's like, I hope I'm getting paid enough for this. I don't know. She looks like she had an attitude like, I don't want to play this kind of character that who's supposed to be 4. I'm 12. Why do I have pigtails? This sucks, Mom.
I'd have to look at that again. I don't remember what she looks like in the first season. But I know time has passed, at least, because I think the show starts in 2001 or 2002.
They couldn't get anyone as cute as the girl from Breaking Bad as Kaylee.
Well, but she was older.
No, I'm saying someone just as cute as that. I mean, look at that punim.
I don't...
Show a picture of her punim.
What? Show a picture of her?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's adorable.
Sure.
Well, if you can't find it, you're looking all night.
I'm sure I can find a picture of Kaylee. I'm sure I can find a picture of Kaylee. I just don't normally show images on the show, especially since it's an audio show on on 3 websites. So YouTube's the only one where it's a visual show. I'll show it. Yeah, the tables have turned. I do this to Zach all the time on our other show. Okay, so yeah, I don't know. I think I'm about a good talking about season 3. The impact it had on me was very strong. I think that the writers are brilliant. It's the first major death in the show. Chuck was a main character.
That is if it's an actual death. I'm still 0.1% chance maybe he's alive.
If he's still alive, then I'm feeling like I'm not gonna like the 4th season. Maybe I shouldn't go that far,
Although maybe on Talking Saul they'll say yeah, he's dead. Maybe they'll confirm it for us, and everyone who's listening to this is yeah, they said it already. You guys
if he survives from that, we're going to freaking Marvel Comics. Better Call Saul is gonna become part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's stupid for him to be able to survive that. Especially since no one is around and nobody's really noticing at first because it's nighttime. I'm sure if enough time someone will notice, but by the time someone sees that the flames are covering up the whole house, it's too late.
You know what's... Oh my god, yeah. You know what really sucks too? The last time Jimmy talked to Chuck...
Is that... Yeah.
God damn.
The season, I want to say one more thing before we end the show.
The last person he talked to, I think, too.
Yeah. Actually, the last person he talked to was someone on the telephone.
Some assistant.
Yeah, some assistant. That slut. Let's talk. I want to say one more thing though, just to give this show a little bit of praise. Well, I wasn't a big fan of the first episode. I love everything after it, but the first one I thought was slow, and I actually was disappointed when we got the premiere. Especially since they have the freaking Gene scene where they only show us 2 minutes of that and then end that on a cliffhanger saying, "Hey, you'll get to wait till next year to see what happens next there." Haha. But
if you complain about next season opening on that and you only get that one scene, don't complain. It's gonna happen.
I know. I can live with it.
3 seasons in, I mean.
I can live with it. I was still happy. I was very satisfied with season 3. It's my favorite season, and the first 2 seasons already had a high rank for me.
Season 3's intro anyway. It was long enough anyway.
I'm crossed between a 9 or 10 out of 10 for this season. I have problems with it, but the good outweighs the negative so much. But let me just say, I want to say this though. Yeah. While I wasn't the biggest fan of the first episode, I think the season knew just how to open, because it has the scene with Jimmy and Chuck talking about that book that they read as a kid, and it is the last good, positive conversation they have ever. And it's a perfect way to start a season of fucking heartbreak off. And this last episode knew how to start it off perfectly too, showing the flashback, and then just...
You know what, too? I should have known it was them as kids, because, the older brother, the younger brother said something, and the older brother replied in more of an angrier way. And I was why is he acting angry?
Oh, yeah. The kid, that guy was perfect for Chuck, too. Go back and listen to his voice. That was a young Chuck. That was wonderful from that guy, by the way. Special praise to that guy.
That guy. Look up the IMDb.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? In the end of seasons 1 and 2, did they show black and white scenes at the finales of those, or am I wrong?
No, they only do it in the premiere.
Okay.
My dad had the same thought as you, by the way, too. He thought that the black and white scenes appeared throughout the season, but no, they don't.
No, I was gonna say like the finale. And
Yeah.
the,
No, they don't do that. Yeah.
They should.
I think it could be cool, but I also think it's a good way to start things off. But what was I about to say, Sif? Wait, I had like one more thing I was gonna throw in. I forget what it was. It wasn't big. Like it was connected to what I was already saying too. Oh well. Oh yeah. Oh, now I remember what it was.
Take your time.
Did you see the suicide hotline number pop up at the end of the episode? Yeah, though at the end of the credits, the suicide prevention or suicide hotline number showed up on the screen. Yeah. That just made it harder to look at. That just made the ending so much more real.
Chucky poo.
Don't commit suicide, guys.
It's bad for you.
I made a really fucked up joke when the Skype call started, because Zachary was thumping, and it was like really bad taste, and I was actually afraid in this episode I was gonna my voice was gonna break, because I was actually genuinely upset after I watched the episode. It sounded, if you heard my voice, it sounded like I was about to fucking cry. But like the second the Skype call started with Zach, his microphone was thumping around a lot. And I said, "God, what are you trying to do, Zach? Knock a lamp over?" But did you even catch that? Oh. You missed that. We were having audio issues when we started the call. God. Okay, you had something to say. I'm sorry, I cut you off. I think I cut people off too much on the show.
I think I said what I said.
Yeah.
Black and white.
Yeah. Are you good? Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Nah, I think I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem, Zach.
Never have me on again. Jokes.
Me and Zach do a show called Duckcast on a channel called the Exploding Duck Brigade, which is
I'll type in the Exploding Duck Brigade and never find it.
I'll link that in the description if you want to see more of me and Zach's shenanigans. But I hope you enjoyed this. Zach, thank you for coming on. And this has been DeRailed, episode 4. Bye!